If you're thinking about buying a fireplace insert, you have a few things you need to decide, starting with the model. Then you'll need to decide what type of fuel will be driving the insert. It makes a big difference in cost. Each model comes with a different trim kit, as well as accessories. If you're going to just use the fireplace for decorations, that's fine, but if you're going to heat your home with it, you need to consider the efficiency. And obviously, since all fireplaces are built differently, will it fit into your fireplace? Finally, can you afford this thing? How much will it cost? This is what I paid for mine back in 2007. In addition to buying the insert, there's lots of extra small costs. There's professional installation. That's actually not a small cost. You'll need to pay for the permits, and here's the one that surprised me. The installers required we have the chimney swept before they installed it. So make sure you factor that into your estimates. The other way to get a fireplace insert is to buy a house that already has one. But how do you find out information about the one that's actually installed in your new house? Well, if it was professionally installed, look for a data plate. My data plate was stored here underneath the fireplace. It'll have all kinds of good information on it. Things like how to safely operate the fireplace, procedures on how to actually light it, as well as how to shut it off. You'll also have the model number and manufacturer, what fuel the fireplace uses, and what kind of venting system does it use. Finally, when was the fireplace installed? This is important because fireplace inserts do actually need to have maintenance done on them. And I'll show you how to do that in this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to work on a Sienna fireplace. First thing you want to do is turn off the gas. This particular fireplace is powered by natural gas. Cover your hearth so you don't damage it or mar it up while you're doing this work. You may drop something. All of the outside trim work just lifts up. The glass is held into place by 2 bolts up top. On the bottom, it fits into some slots. After you remove the glass, inspect the fiberglass seal that goes all the way around the inside. And now would be a great time to clean the inside of the glass. Gently remove all of the logs. They're very delicate. Oh, and surprisingly light. You can clean the logs with a vacuum cleaner. Use a hosed vacuum cleaner that has a brush on the end of it. That's a soft brush, by the way. Now you can remove all of the fake embers. This is some sort of fiberglass-like material. In my case, since it's so old, I just replaced all of it. All of this fake brick needs to be cleaned. Once again, a vacuum cleaner with a brush on the end of it works perfectly. When you're removing this piece of brickwork, be very careful. It's extremely fragile. I wound up breaking it. This piece here is used to support the logs. It just lifts straight out. Finally, the meat and potatoes of this thing, the burner unit. Screws hold it down. I have absolutely no idea what this black stuff back here is, or used to be before it burned up. Vacuum cleaner cleans it right up. Okay, while you're vacuuming, you see the hole on the left-hand side? Be very careful, there's a fiberglass seal in there you don't want to suck up. Okay, I just showed you how to suck up that seal. Don't do that. On my particular fireplace, the fan stopped coming on. This item right here is the thermocouple that's supposed to make it turn on. Let's see if I can remove it. Absolutely not. You have to lift the base plate to disconnect the connectors. And to get the base plate out, you need to remove the fake brickwork that's on the back side and top side. Again, be very careful, this stuff's fragile. The base plate has a lot of screws that holds it in. You also need to remove these 2 brackets that the burner unit is mounted on. Pay close attention to how you remove them. They need to go back in the same orientation. You're not going to be able to completely remove it because the gas line's still hooked up to it. So to keep that gas line intact, simply prop up the base plate. Now you can get access underneath that base plate so you can clean a couple years worth of, a couple decades worth of spider webs. And you can access the connectors to that thermocouple. The connectors to the thermocouple probe just pull right off. It's kind of hard, but they do actually come off. To test the probe, hook up a multimeter to the two outputs and heat it up with a hot air gun. When the probe gets warm, you should see the short circuit occur inside of it. And right there, that's what we need. This thermocouple is okay. If it's not okay, you can buy a new one. The other thing you can test is pull the two wires off of this knob. Hook up your multimeter and test it. It's the on-off and speed control for the fan. Weirdly, in my case, everything worked the way it was supposed to. So I cleaned all the connectors and reassembled. Leaving the gas off, I plugged the fireplace back in, made sure the fan was turned on, then put a hot air gun onto that thermocouple. The fan did turn on. Apparently, all this fireplace needed was a good solid cleaning. You can now reinstall the base plate and the mounting brackets for your burner unit. Using a wire brush, very gently clean all the pilot light stuff. Now that everything's reassembled, I'm curious, what temperature does that thermocouple probe actually activate at? That's interesting. It was only 80 degrees. I think the manual said it was supposed to be around 135 or something like that, but as long as the fan comes on, I call it good. Remember that seal I accidentally vacuumed up when I was cleaning the base plate? Buy some special fireplace sealant, it's high temp stuff, and reapply that seal. Or gasket, or whatever they call it. Being careful of your new gasket installation, reinstall the burner unit. Oh wait, let's take a look at the burner unit first. A visual inspection of the burner unit showed that the thing was actually cracked in several places. I signed online to see how much a new burner unit is, and I find out that I have a better use for $500 or $600. So, head on out to the garage, crank out your welding unit, and fix the burner unit. To give it more strength, I left all the extra welding material installed on the burner. Okay, now you can reinstall the burner. 6 screws. And you may have to clamp it into place to get the screws to start, because the burner unit's probably going to be warped from all the heat. Reinstall all of the fake brickwork. And take a look at your user's manual. When you reinstall the logs, they actually have to go in a very specific position. That way you get optimum flow of the gas and you're not blocking any of the gas ports. Everything else just goes back in the reverse order that you took it out. We're back up and running with our fireplace, and the fan now works. Well, thanks for watching.